Hello everyone, in this video, I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Moeed Pirzada to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Moeed Pirzada's words. In the past 12 hours, the focus of think tanks, universities, government institutes in America and the Western world has been on China. After the military parade, China's President Xi Jinping said that China is unstoppable. Since then, America and the Western think tanks and institutes have been continuously analyzing and trying to understand what message China has sent to the world and the West. However, the Pakistani media has largely ignored this. In Pakistani English newspapers, there are barely one or two headlines about this, and Pakistani social media is totally focused on internal issues, problems and crises inside Pakistan. I will explain these two things: what crises Pakistan is facing, which in the last 12 to 14 hours has captured the attention of many, especially influential social media opinion makers, and the significance of the message China sent, why there is such hyper-analysis happening in Western institutes, think tanks, universities and media. But before that, let's look at Pakistan. I want to say that although Pakistani media and social media opinion makers have ignored developments inside China, you cannot entirely blame them because Pakistan itself is undergoing such a crisis that most of the attention remains inside Pakistan. The country has an insular, inward-looking situation at present. In these last 12 to 14 hours, people's attention has been on the horrific flood devastation inside Pakistan. Rain is falling in India's Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, which is the catchment area, and the floodwaters are now heading towards Pakistan. The focus is also on the terrifying terrorist attack in Balochistan. At a ceremony commemorating an anniversary of the Balochistan National Party, attended by Mahmoud Achakzai and ANP leaders, there was a suicide terrorist attack. At least 13 people are confirmed dead and more than 35 injured. During the same time, two senior judges of Islamabad High Court, Justice Babar Sattar and Justice Ijaz Isa Khan, publicly shared letters they wrote to the Chief Justice of Islamabad High Court, which contained sharp criticism of his actions. This issue was raised by Salman Akram Raja, Secretary-General of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, during a press conference condemning the suicide bombing. Raja was accompanied by Raja Alama Nasir Abbas, Senator Mustafa Kokhar and Mohammed Zubair. These are the developments that have captured the focus of Pakistani social media. However, the most influential social media commentary is about the threat to Imran Khan's life. Rumours about his illness have been circulated, with claims that there may be a plot to kill him by slow poisoning. Influential opinion makers on social media are discussing these rumours. I want to share some details with you. People suspect that Alima Khan, Imran Khan's sister, along with her sisters, held a press talk after being denied access to meet Imran Khan in Adiala jail. Barrister Gohar, who met Imran, reported on Imran's position against military operations and the floods, his views on forestation, and said that Imran is healthy and mentally alert. Imran has access to newspapers and TV and has watched the National Assembly speech. Alima Khan explained that Imran's eye problems are due to excessive reading and are not serious, and emphasized that Imran should have access to his personal doctors, Faisal Sultan and Asim, for blood tests. There is suspicion that these are more than just rumors and that Imran might be slowly poisoned or harmed in jail. Reports say Imran talks to himself, self-talk, and his mental state is questionable. However, self-talk is common among intelligent, creative people who are constantly thinking of solutions. The real worry is that if something happens to Imran, it might be blamed on pre-existing illness or isolation effects, which Alima Khan also indicated, sparking a heated debate in Pakistan overshadowing other issues. I am surprised at the conduct of Pakistan's current establishment, especially the GHQ, or General Headquarters. Pakistan's establishment has never been this bad before. Maybe there was force and oppression earlier, but not to this extent. General Musharraf's, General Kayani's and perhaps General Ayub Khan's establishments were not like this. I don't know about General Zia's. Why are Imran Khan's sisters denied meetings with him every week? It took nearly 4 months for Alima to meet him. If they met him regularly, many rumours that tarnish Pakistan's establishment would not exist. There seems to be some mental pathology causing Pakistan's establishment to be so discredited. This makes us Pakistanis question our self-respect, values, character and freedom over the last 77 years. How free are we really? How can a person who was twice Prime Minister of Pakistan with a two-thirds majority be treated this way? And yet we raise slogans about Kashmir's self-determination and rights when even in Pakistan these rights are denied. Imagine if people in Gaza held a conference demanding self-determination for Kashmiris. Would the world call them crazy? No, they wouldn't. This has been Pakistan's condition for 77 years. Regarding the media, I heard that Shahbaz Khan, a well-known anchor on Geo News or Geo TV, has been hired as an SN advisor or head of PTV Global to direct English international narratives to inform the world about Pakistan's stance. But when Pakistan has no real position or human rights, and the country is in such terrible shape, merely translating all misdeeds into English will not impress anyone globally. Until we make the Pakistani diaspora our ambassadors and win mental arguments with people like us, spending billions won't make the world listen. Now moving forward to the context of Pakistan's politics and judiciary issues highlighted by Justice Babar Sattar and Justice Ijaz Isa Khan in their letters made public. These letters were shared with other judges of Islamabad High Court and the media. The Chief Justice of Islamabad High Court, Sarfraz Dogar, who was transferred from Lahore High Court against convention and law, controls the administrative operations of the court, including case assignments, bench formations and committees. Salman Akram Raja raised these issues in his press conference held in response to the Balochistan National Party attack. He spoke with powerful comments and strong criticism. The Balochistan National Party held an anniversary ceremony of Ataullah Bangulzai, attended by Mahmud Khan Achakzai and Awami National Party leaders. When the event ended, a suicide bombing occurred. Police confirmed it was a suicide bomber, but questions remain about who orchestrated it, a mystery that has persisted for 20 years in Pakistan with no answers. Salman Akram Raja and others condemned the attack, sharply criticised the government's flood management strategy led by Mariam Nawaz, calling it mismanaged and weak. The flood defences collapsed, causing massive damage. Mariam Nawaz and her government are trying to portray a positive image through videos and TikToks, but the reality is different. The judge's letters question whether the Islamabad High Court guarantees fundamental rights to Pakistani citizens. The court should protect basic human, legal and political rights, but clearly it does not. Chief Justice Dogar manages the court's administrative control through the registrar, and these issues need discussion and attention. Salman Akram Raja's press conference and the letters by Justice Babar Sattar and Justice Ijaz Isa Khan are part of this ongoing critical discourse on Pakistan's current crises. McDonald's burger is a product. Similarly, it is also a brainwash product. There is nothing in the mind of the person using it. It is used. Just like now, tomorrow you might come across suicide bombers made by AI, artificial intelligence, who look like humans and are sent to you. People fall into its pathos. Actually, behind this there is political communication that some political parties have sent this message to block political gatherings, telling people they are not safe. Now, all these developments are obviously developments in which Pakistan's social media is completely unaware of the major developments happening worldwide. But it is very important to keep track of them. Because what happened in China at the SCO summit, the kind of speeches given, the type of weapon systems China displayed, the leadership present there, all this is undergoing big analysis right now in the world's power circles. And I want to quickly give you a synopsis summary. President Xi Jinping said that China is unstable. This news made headlines worldwide, including in Pakistan. And basically there is a big analysis about what Xi Jinping's message means. The same analysis is happening in the United States, Britain and everywhere. But first, let's look at who the leaders were. The Western media focused on the fact that President Xi Jinping was like an emperor with Russian President Vladimir Putin on one side. And for the first time, North Korea's strongman Kim Jong-un was with them. Remember, Kim Jong-un does not come to China every time. Whenever he comes, he arrives in his bulletproof, bomb-proof train. This time he also brought his 12-year-old daughter, after which the Western media concluded that he has started grooming his daughter as his successor. But in 66 years, this is the first time North Korea participated in a military parade like this. There was heavy criticism from the West that China had kept North Korean leadership at a distance, but this was the first time Kim Jong-un got to stand alongside the Chinese president and Russian president at the same place. Later, he also had a bilateral meeting with President Putin in Beijing. Putin brought a limousine with a driver. In this bilateral meeting, apparently, President Putin thanked Kim Jong-un for the agreement during the Pangong meeting, through which North Korean troops and weapons systems are being supplied to Russia for the conflict in Ukraine. On the surface, that is what happened. Also, note another point. This shows how much Russia's credibility has declined as a result of the war in Ukraine. Russia now has to take drones from Iran and troops and weapon systems from North Korea, so the superpower we thought Russia was has been severely exposed. Now it's important to note that Pakistani newspapers gave a strong impression that Shahbaz Sharif was also present there. Watch the footage. Shahbaz Sharif barely reached the top. American newspapers mentioned that Xi Jinping basically mentioned Putin and North Korea were there. The rest were other authoritarian regimes like Iran and Pakistan. The presence of Iran's leader was very significant, which I will comment on shortly. It is also important to note that India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi stayed away. He did not attend the military parade. Indian public is heavily criticizing America right now. On my YouTube channels, you can see Indians strongly opposing Trump's America. But the Indian government is playing its cards very cautiously. They don't want to create such a distance from the West that their ties break. They didn't want their Prime Minister to be seen standing next to Xi Jinping, Putin and Kim Jong-un in a military parade. Just imagine the impact if Narendra Modi had been standing next to Xi Jinping, Putin and Kim Jong-un during the speech at Tiananmen Square. This victory parade marking the Second World War, Western analysts say that Russia and China tried to send a message to the West that the post-World War II world order, called the post-war world order, was not just created by the West and America. China and Russia had a big contribution too. Historically, Western scholarship acknowledges Russia's role was never undermined. It is always accepted that Hitler's defeat was impossible without Russia, Stalin and the Soviet Union's sacrifices and military performance. Without the Battle of Stalingrad and Leningrad, the German defeat would not have been possible. However, the role of China, which the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, tries to highlight, is different. Western scholars say Mao's Communist Party had a limited role against Japan. Japan attacked China in 1937, and after Pearl Harbor became part of the broader World War II conflict in Asia. But the principal role in the military struggle against Japan was of the Kuomintang, the Chinese nationalists. They fought the major battles and bore the brunt, while the communists played a limited role with guerrilla tactics and political maneuvering. The nationalists received major support from the United States: material, vehicles, air support, weapons, money and finance. When Japan blockaded Kuomintang war areas, the United States established a land corridor via Burma, called the Burma-China Theater, to support the Chinese nationalists. When Japan attacked Burma, Americans organized airlifts to help the Chinese nationalists fight Japan. So Donald Trump's comment on Truth Social about the CCP trying to rewrite history has, well, some truth. The CCP tries to send the message that it was the communists who fought Japan in World War II, but the reality is the nationalists fought the major battles. The United States recognized China as one of the four major powers during World War II, along with America, Russia and Britain. China was offered a seat in the United Nations, which it got in 1970, when the seat was transferred from Taiwan, which is still governed separately by the nationalists. After World War II ended in 1945, the United States tried to mediate a hybrid government between the CCP and Kuomintang, but failed. The CCP defeated the nationalists in 1948-49 and established what we now call Communist China. I've given you this background because, I'm sure many of you are well read and familiar with this. Some might criticize the spelling of Kuomintang or the pronunciation of Chiang Kai-shek, but substantive criticism is limited. Back to the weapons displayed in the military parade, China showed hypersonic missiles, airborne combat vehicles that can be dropped from transport ships with communication capabilities, allowing troops inside to monitor the battlefield from above. These vehicles become part of the battle as soon as they land and have protective capabilities against incoming fire. AI tools are integrated inside. Naval drones and ballistic missiles capable of reaching the United States were also displayed. Keep in mind, none of these weapon systems would be unknown to United States intelligence agencies like the NSA or the CIA. The CIA monitors everything worldwide, including Pakistan's internal affairs, and their help allows them access to people like Donald Trump. So none of these weapons are a surprise to American intelligence. China has publicly declared these weapons, which think tanks, universities, experts, and the United States government are discussing at a high level. It is no surprise to the American government. What messages have been sent? One message to the American Navy, which constantly keeps China under surveillance in the East China Sea near Taiwan. Australia, Japan and other navies have been warned that China now has sophisticated weapon systems capable of punishing any misadventure or provocation regarding Taiwan. They will teach a lesson. The naval drones, hypersonic missiles, airborne combat vehicles all send a clear message to Taiwan and the United States: don't even think about a formal declaration of independence for Taiwan. Remember, in 1970, the US-China opening, called the Kissinger opening, was based on the One China policy. America accepts only one China. There are no two Chinas. The United States does not formally recognize Taiwan as a separate country, though in the last 20 years the United States has strongly supported Taiwan through unofficial diplomatic ties. Taiwan's diplomatic presence in the United States and visits by top United States personalities to Taiwan annoy China. China's warning is that Taiwan is part of China and should not declare formal independence. If Taiwan declares formal independence, China will attack. Will the United States come to Taiwan's defense? That's a big question. The Chinese Communist Party wants to send a message similar to Pakistan's establishment military rhetoric. We are the protectors. We won World War II. We kicked Japan out. We will fight everything. Another point in the analysis is that all the Central Asian leaders present at the SCO summit were given a message. China is strong enough to protect you. China can handle it. This will be tested soon because Iran expects protection from war. Iran's President Moeed Pirzada was present. There is speculation that Israel and the United States might attack Iran this month because the E3 dialogue has not reached any conclusion. Russia and China, along with the European three, are involved. That wraps up our translation of Moeed Pirzada's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.